Hey there, I thought I'd go into ambience design today. Since I posted my redesign of Diablo 4, I got a few people reaching out, wanting to talk about my process. So I thought I'd break it down for you today. I usually approach ambience design in two phases. Number one being kind of your foundation, and then second phase is creating space and dynamics with emitters. So here, let's just kind of go through the foundation. So here, what you want to do is kind of like diversify different sounds and kind of build it up in layers, which is kind of typical of sound design. And you're just kind of like adding noise per layer, essentially. And so here's my first layer. Just kind of a wind, kind of a whistle and gusts. Second one is just kind of more noise floor, some birds. Another one. Here I got a little more designy with a bit of a drone. So quiet, but still kind of adds a little musical element to it, and then just a low rumble. Next step is creating dynamics, and what I mean by that is kind of creating your space with different sound emitters, and so you kind of want to think, logically what would kind of be in the space you're designing for. Here I got crows, I got just kind of like stones and debris and rocks kind of falling around you, some weird like creature worm sounds as well. And how I set it up is by having multiple tracks and then kind of setting up the pan differently for each of them. And then I kind of like go in and paint, essentially, just put a sound where I want to create interest and kind of create those dynamics. So some of them might be louder than others and at different directions. And here's kind of what these sound like together. So of course you're kind of hearing the panning going on here. Like some of them are way into the right, some of them way into the left. And interesting thing also for the fly is just a mono track that I just automated the pan for, not really randomly, but just kind of fill in the holes with that and kind of creating that depth. After that, it's just kind of like putting everything together, everything through a reverb to kind of glue everything together. On the more technical side for mixing is I kind of want to use the reverb to my advantage to glue my emitters to the foundation. And the way to do that is use pre-fader and kind of mix the reverb level, the send level, and the track level accordingly to kind of like have it live in that same space. And so here's kind of what you see here with my with the pre-fader sends. Yeah, and after that, it's just making sure you're not competing with any of the other elements. Like ambiences are are super important to create space, but you don't want it to compete. You want it to have kind of its own life on its own. So it's kind of finding that balance, EQing some of the problem frequencies that you can have where frequencies might compete. So here's how kind of how I approach ambiences.